Bobby, today, it's Tuesday. We're going to do some If We Ran Nintendo. It's going to be live. It's going to be nice. It's going to be alive. Thanks to our executive producers. I'm just kidding. What did you think was going to happen, Bob?
Be a Toby Thornton.
No, I'm Sean Capri. You're Bobby Pauls. This is If We Ran Nintendo, and we're live on YouTube thanks to our executive producers and all of our patrons on patreon.com/makeusbetter, like Joel Brooks, James Johnson, Dr. Doom, Sheldon Benedict, Jesse Armstrong, Nick Milicia from Next Level Games, Glauco Schaffer, David, Ray, and Joey Hehir. I mixed up the order a little bit. I don't think I missed anybody, but you guys all, love you all. Boop.
Are you ready?
What I said, are you ready?
Can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay. You think that you're better?
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Bow to the masters. Break it down.
If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 78 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all of podcasting, Sean Capri. What is up, Sean?
Hi, Bobby. It's nice to see you. I'm reminded of when we first started doing this show, and I was so honored and humbled that I landed myself this job of being a co-host to the Bobby Pauls. And then after a while, you start to maybe, take each other for granted a little bit. You tell your co-host to F off in an episode, and everybody thinks that you hate each other. Then things go back to normal. And then all of a sudden, your friend Bobby Paul starts doing 16 more podcasts, and he starts landing himself in all the line. I am in the presence of greatness, not only with you, Mr. Pauls, Mr. Guru, and everybody in the chat here. This is something else. You're taking off like a SpaceX flight after all of the crashes.
I want to ask you a question, Sean.
Okay.
So you're an Oilers fan?
Yes.
Okay.
The Edmonton Oilers, not the Houston Oilers.
The Edmonton Oilers. So when you were a young boy,
little Sean.
Like, you heard the stories of winning championships because you weren't really alive when they were winning championships.
I was alive. No, I remember.
You were a young boy.
My first memory of the Oilers winning the cup was the last one that they would have won with Gretzky.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question for you is this.
Yeah. Okay.
They went on a bad streak for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right?
You could say that.
They're good now, right? They're
this year. Last year.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen this year?
Did you stop being a fan in all that time?
No, the answer is no, but it got close.
Okay.
And it was before last year.
So I just want to address Jesse Sackett since he brought this up.
Okay, I understand. You're not actually interested in my...
No, because your answer is exactly the point I was making.
All right.
So he's taking offense to the fact that I'm saying that people that abandon Nintendo aren't true fans. And what I meant by that is not if you didn't buy a particular system. I'm talking about people that leave and go to the other team and now jump back praising the glories. And I think that's the discrepancy here of what people don't understand. And I'm bringing this up because it's rubbed me the wrong way earlier tonight, because I'm sitting there saying to myself, I don't understand what point was missed in all of this. The point that I made in all of it was I was like, I'm a Yankees fan. There's a time right now where the Yankees aren't that good. I don't go, I'm going to go be a Red Sox fan now, or I'm going to go be something else right now. And then when the Yankees start winning, I go, oh, yes, the Yankees. So that's called a fair weather fan. Don't know where everybody else is coming from, but that's called a fair weather fan. Now, the point I was trying to make was that go listen to the other podcast.
What's the other podcast?
So the other podcast is Planet Nintendo.
Yeah.
And there was a discussion brought up about Virtual Console, and I was just like, look, I don't think that the true Nintendo fans that have a Switch right now care about the Virtual Console, because they have it on the Wii U, they have it on the 3DS, they haven't gone anywhere. So it's more or less like, hey, I don't have to have this thing right now. And I think Nintendo is viewing it as like, majority of the Switch owners already have it. Let's figure it out. Let's do it right. and give it to them that way. Whether it be the Netflix way, where you pay the service and you get these games, or no, you have to buy these again, but you bought them 50 other times. We're not going to charge you again. Like, I feel like they're trying to figure out the best solution. And that's all it was. And that's all I was trying to say at the end of the day. But then, there was a couple people in the comments on the other video that kind of got offended by my remarks. And I was trying to just explain, like, that I wasn't being offensive by my remarks. If you didn't buy a console just because money or you just didn't like the console, that's fine. That's fine. My issue's more like the Colin Moriarty type of people that jump ship, went over to PlayStation, constantly throw shade at Nintendo, but it is a Nintendo fan. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because if you're doing that, you're not a fan. You know what I mean? Like, a true Nintendo fan doesn't leave. Stays where they are. The good through the bad. I'm not saying you have to buy.
This
all
is
the
an
consoles.
interesting. Okay, how in depth did you get into this part of the conversation, or is this now a result of comments that you had made?
This is a result of comments that I've made.
Okay, this is an interesting thing, Bobby. Like, are you allowed to? Like, we started a show called If We Ran Nintendo because we are Nintendo fans, and we were frustrated with the tail end of the Wii U, and we wanted to know what the heck NX was. So, and we threw a lot of shade, man, and we continue every week. So I guess, like, I'm going to throw it back to you. Like, at what point do you start to peel away from being a quote-unquote true Nintendo fan? And, like, and I'm on your side here. Like, I think this is a really great conversation. I think that you're right. Like, I don't think that it's fair for people to go. I think there is a line. I just think that it's worth a conversation to find out, like, where is that line? Yeah.
I just think that, for me, I feel like you don't leave. Like, you don't have to buy the consoles. That's one thing. But me saying you're a fan doesn't equate to buying consoles. There could be a lapse. There could just be whatever. You just left gaming for a little bit of time. But you could have just been like, hey, I'm not even saying that you go and buy a PS4 and you don't buy a Wii U or whatever it might be. That's one thing and another. But to talk trash and then try to come back afterwards, that to me is the cardinal sin. And that, to me, is like, that's where I equate the Colin Moriarty type people. Because he throws shade at Nintendo all the time. But then, not much anymore because he doesn't do games anymore. But would constantly be like, no, I'm a Nintendo fan. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're an old Nintendo fan who's decided to now, because Nintendo's the hype and the hotness, we're going to talk about it. And that was what I was trying. And maybe I didn't, get that across properly. But
if you're talking about other things, I think it's interesting too, because I wonder about me with PC gaming. Like, that was my origin story, really, was PC. I crapped all over Nintendo because I thought Half-Life looked way better than GoldenEye. Like, those are the classic fights that I used to have. But, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know that. I guess I'm not really in that side of, like, I'm one or the other. I basically I praise and crap all over everything. So I don't know if that's a safer place to be, but I'm sorry that maybe your words got a little misconstrued, Bobby, because I know what you're saying, man.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
I mean, you know how it is. It's just, it's sometimes, because that wasn't the gist of the conversation. It was a point I was making, and I moved on. Like, it was a really good conversation. It was.
It's a reminder that people are listening.
Yeah.
How about that?
Jesse, I don't see how people can get offended by it. I really don't. I don't see how people get offended.
Look, Jesse, I don't know how much more Bobby I can take. I don't know. I watch Nintendo Talk every single day. I talk to him every week. Nintendo PlayStation, I'm the first one listening. I don't know.
But I'm just kidding.
I'm totally gonna listen. I'm totally kidding. I can't wait because I need to see Joe after work and Nintendo Talk, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, but I don't see how people get offended. That's the thing that I don't get, because
you know what this reminds me of, though. This is like a Gabe Hills situation.
Yes.
Remember what happened with Gabe Hills?
Yes.
I can't remember exactly what it was that you said, but you upset Gabe.
I posted in a Facebook group just for people to watch the show. Like, I put the link to the show and all that stuff. And Gabe Hills came in, and his comment was, "Oh yes, let's guess. Here's two people that don't know a thing about business going to try to tell Nintendo how to run their business."
That's right.
And I was like, "Yo, bro, straight up, neither of us are qualified to run a lemonade stand, let alone Nintendo."
That's true.
This isn't what it's about. This is about.
I probably buy limes for some reason.
Like, "Oh, Nintendo's stupid for this, Nintendo's stupid for that," but they wouldn't then follow with like what they would do. My thing with
I have to commend you on all this too, though, Bobby, because like I am of the mind that like people who leave kind of mean-spirited comments are not even worthwhile to engage in, and you engage, man. You every single time you handle yourself, I think, pretty well for the most part. I think maybe 1 in a million you'll get a little pissy, but I think for the most part you back up your point very well, and you know what, you end up turning people who are upset into, the thing is, the people who you take the mindset of people who are that upset to leave a comment like that are engaged, like they are the maximum engaged, and
you want to say something to them.
You're good about that, dude.
But my thing, and I'll say my last thing to you, Jesse, people get sensitive when other people challenge their fandom. If people got a guilty conscience, that's not my problem. I didn't leave. I've been here the whole time. I've been here since '85. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't buy a console because you just weren't a fan of that particular console, I get it. I'm fine with that. That's not my issue. My issue is if you bail and then try to come back, like, and bail and then talk trash. Hey man, you got the guilty conscience, not me. I'm not. You know. It is what it is. I just, you know, that's how it is. Anyway, let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs.
Geek outs.
I almost said it.
Geek outs. I know. I was like, he's going to do it all on his own.
I almost said it. So our shout-outs. I'll let you start. You have any? Because I kind of rambled for a little bit here. Do you have any shout-outs?
My shout-out is to you, Mr. Bobby Pauls. I have one shout-out, and it is to celebrate your work ethic. You have taken it up a notch, man. Like, honestly, I don't, like, people were joking, when does Bobby sleep? And I don't know. I used to know exactly when Bobby slept. I used to know your bedtime and your wake time, and now that's all over the place. You're putting up these Nintendo Guru Asks video. You're back in front of the green screen. You're doing, I don't even know how many posts. Like, you are 19 subs away from 1,000. And you have just been, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. And it's by no accident. You've put in the effort. You are putting a lot of people on their heels, wondering, man, I don't know how I'm going to even keep up with this guy. I just wanted to take a moment today. My big shout out is dedicated to you. I'm very proud of you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
That's pretty amazing.
That got me a little choked up. Thank you.
I
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give 3 shout outs. One is a combination one. One is Jesse Sacken. I just want to say to you, Jesse, like, I appreciate your support, honestly. And I love you, dude. And seriously, you've been with me for a while now, and you're honest. And you give your honest opinion, and I can respect that wholeheartedly. A lot of times I will say stuff to be facetious and to kind of get a reaction. Not trollish, but just to try to, like, torque people up a little bit and such. But I don't ever mean anything mean-spirited by anything I say. So please don't take offense to that. And if I've offended you at all, I did not mean offense by it. I apologize. The other thing, the other shout out that I wanted to give to was my 2 new good friends, Patrick from Nintendo Talk, Joe After Work. We have the new podcast, Nintendo Planet. I'm working out the kinks with
Planet Nintendo.
You know what, that was supposed to be the name, Nintendo Planet. And I said to Patrick, I'm like, that's a dumb name, man. It's supposed to be Planet Nintendo. And here I am screwing up already. I gotcha. But it's anyway, Planet Nintendo podcast. I'm trying to work out the kinks with Dave Moore to
audio it up.
Yeah, audio it up and do that. Like, I have the audio section ready to go. I just got to get with him to kind of work out the bugs and get that going. So that'll be a blast. But
nice, man. That's awesome.
But Patrick came to me and was like, hey, Bobby, you know, from the response of the couple of Nintendo Talks that we had, Nintendo Talk Live, people were just like, hey, man, I really think you guys should do a show together. And I was like, dude, you know me, Sean. I'm like, I don't have time for this, dude. I don't want to do this.
But on the other hand, it would be nice to do a Nintendo show with somebody who actually knows something about Nintendo. That would be really good.
Wow.
That would be good.
Are you talking about you don't, or are you talking about me? Okay.
I'm saying you.
Okay. I thought you were talking about me. I was gonna say, what the hell is that, man?
No, man.
Now you know about Nintendo. Stop it. Anyway, so we had the conversation. We talked about it, and it was just like, you know what? Let's take a week. Let's think on this, because I was kind of like, I just want to see how serious this dude is. Like, if you want me to come and do another show, I want to see how serious you are. And this dude came with everything. He had everything laid out. Like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, he's legit. He's serious.
Yeah, man.
He wants to do it. And I was like, you know what? let's do this. And I was like, by the way, I think we should bring Joe in, you know, because I think that we need a third wheel in this. I think we need to, what you're planning to do, we need the extra body in here. So that said, like, I have 2 phenomenal co-hosts on that show.
It's a very good-looking show.
Oh, dude, it's fun. It's a lot.
I mean, you got the glasses, you got the backgrounds, you got the handsomeness.
Dude, them 2 are gorgeous. I'm
man,
like,
I'm telling you.
This makes me better, man. These 2 are 2 good-looking kids, man. I'm like, I'm good to go, man. I'm
telling you, man, you are discovering like a whole new level. I'm gonna be left behind.
No,
you've got between these 2, you got TJ as well. I mean, the handsomeness level is just like, are you kidding me? And he's just like effortless. Goodness gracious,
like, dude, he was
just
his video. His video was like
so funny,
perfect. Like that's the guy that knows how to do production because he sits there and does the video this week, and he's like stops, waits. Gives me so I know, okay, you're done.
I love it.
You're done with that topic, and I go, okay, I can cut it out. Everybody else is just like running on, and it was like, but it was so good. It was so much fun, dude. Joseph Moran, come on, with that hat and the piranha plant puppet, dude. I lost it.
The Chad, it's the Chad.
Oh, the Chad. Yeah, dude, I could not. And then, okay, so here's the funny thing. Toby's section, right, where he talks about Kirby and then the crickets and stuff, that wasn't put there. What happened was, that was at the beginning. He goes, hey, everybody, hello, I'm Toby. And then he takes a pause. Because I told everybody, like, introduce yourself and then take a pause.
Oh, that's amazing.
So he does the introduction. He goes, hey, everybody, I'm Toby. And then he sits there and he's like, and he makes the face. I was like, I'm using that. So when he did the part about Kirby, good. I grabbed it and backed it to the end and then threw the cricket sound in there. And I was like, this is great, man.
I love it. But you know, his series that he's doing, thanks to everybody on patreon.com/makeusbetter.
Yes.
I'm noticing a theme. He's only done 2, both very heavy on the sucking, Bobby. With the Kirby and the Tori, Toki, Loki,
he's all about
Smokey.
That. Trust me. He's good.
I think the next time he should go to Blows. I think he should go to Bubble Bobble. I think he should go
possibly.
Bubble. Although everybody loves that game.
I will say this, and thank you guys to the chat that are all basically saying that I bust my butt when I'm doing. I appreciate that, man. You guys are awesome. The one thing I will say before we move into our first topic is the next show or the next Nintendo Guru Asks is almost 100% lined up with guests. That's the response that the first one got. I cannot, you know what I mean? Like, thank you guys so much for the immense response to this. Like, and everybody contributed in the first one, dude. You guys,
dude, it was sweet. It was just like one after another. It was like Toby and then Patrick and then TJ and then Jules shows up and it's like, and Mark Carabin. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, man.
This is celebrity hour here.
I just had everybody kind of like off guard.
Yeah, man, it was nice. I mean, like Bill Trinan was like, he's right around the corner.
He was.
Like, it's just I'm waiting for him to show up one of these times.
So before we get yelled at, if we ran
oh right, we replace 20 minutes of shout outs with 20 minutes of nonsense.
Yeah, but Todd Oxshaw's looking at his watch right now, going like, Bobby. If we ran Nintendo, what would our next Zelda game look like, play like, be like? Where would we take this thing? So I think this is a lot of people have this question in mind. They look at like essentially, you know, what exactly, like what Nintendo was able to do with Breath of the Wild. A lot of people start to beg the question of like, where does the future go with this? And I'm of 2 mindsets. Personally, like the first mindset is you keep going with what you have and you do another Breath of the Wild-esque game, open world, all that stuff, like big, massive 3D game. Then the other mindset is you go back to top-down, you know, old school Zelda, you know, basically, I mean, and that's basically open world too, to some degree, but you are kind of locked off in certain areas and all that stuff. Dude, time out. We got a new Patreon member.
Oh, snap.
Jesse Sackin.
No way.
Man. Dude, thank you so much, Jesse. That is...
In the middle of the show?
In the middle of the show, man. Just
what
popped
did I tell
up.
You? See, I would have just ignored it. I would have been like, this is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jesse. That is awesome.
Appreciate that, man. Anyway, so we have
Holy crap.
We have the two mindsets. You know what I mean? Do we go top down? Do we go open world like we did in the past? Yep. Where exactly do we take this thing? Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm torn. And I wanted to ask you first to kind of get a feel and a vibe, because I feel like I'm entrenched with years of Zelda. And I need someone that's, not a true fan.
That's me.
Just kidding. Someone that, when it comes to Zelda, you haven't played a lot of Zelda. Let's be honest.
That's true.
That's what I mean by
That's because most of them suck.
Oh my god! But I know Breath of the Wild. Oh, this is gonna be the demise of the guru this week. All my shows gonna crash and burn. So my question to you is...
Oh, man. I don't mean that. I hope people know that. I even...
Okay. He doesn't mean that. But Breath of the Wild, I think you recognize was a very solid game for Nintendo. So my question...
you know who doesn't think it's great? Chelsea just bought her Switch. She's playing it for the first time. She doesn't love it right now.
Really?
But I think
she
needs more time. You should have a talk with her. Everybody should. Chelsea Capri 23 on Twitter.
I didn't even realize that. I'm a little upset.
Well, she's very early in. I think she's frustrated with the climbing. Actually, she's gonna hate me so much for saying this. Really? She doesn't like that. Like, she's accidentally like latching onto things. Like, she doesn't like his Spider-Man grip.
You know what? She needs to stop. This is not weird. Fallout where you get the mech armor, you run around shooting stuff. Like,
that is a thing. She wants to build things.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
So if it were up to Chelsea, she would have like a Minecraft aspect. She would have some sort of like settlement building, like a Dragon Quest Builders element to this.
The part that she hated the most by the end of Fallout 4, she wants in this.
I mean, that's the thing. Well, that's exactly what we were talking about before.
See, but there is a point where that does come up. Spoilers, because you're just taking forever to get to where you need to be. But there is a section where you like build up
in 2018.
A town. Like you create this town.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. The settlements, per se.
How many people in the chat knew that? I didn't know that.
There's a lot of people.
You get to build a village in the sideline. Well, yeah, probably.
You get to buy a
probably
house.
Smarter than me.
There's a lot of stuff that you haven't found yet. There's a lot of stuff that she hasn't found yet. Like, listen.
And that's the thing.
I don't want to hear nothing from you, Joey. Let's stop. No spoilers, please. No
spoilers.
you're just that's the guy I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know.
That's the guy. That's the type of guy I was talking about earlier.
I know, you never get his name right.
No, I'm talking Skyward Knight.
Sword. You always call him Skyward Knight. See,
he gets mad.
He's the king. So okay, Bobby.
Okay, so what direction would you go with this? Would you go 2D, top down, or would you go back to where we are now?
I was thinking about this, and I'm actually, because my gut reaction is to go far, far away from Breath of the Wild, just because it's so great, and it would be very difficult to top that. Everything's going to feel a little bit rehashed. I think eventually I do want to go back to it, and I think the one thing that for some people have a bit of a comment on how sparse the environments are. Like, you do run around and see not much, but the magic is in. But what if I do find something? Like, what is that shape or that landscape over the hill? Bobby's laughing in the chat. It throws me off so bad. I'm sorry, guys. I would like if they were to go back to this you can go anywhere. I want a little more dense. I would like a little bit more to do, maybe a little bit. And I know that's going to come up with some hate, but I want to go with the next Zelda game. I want to go something maybe even like totally different. Maybe like bow and arrow training. No, I'm just kidding. Something more story related, actually. Like, honestly, like a very traditional, almost like an adventure game. Yeah. Because I feel like, so Telltale has really been doing the whole, like, the same formula for everything. They're just applying it to every franchise you could get it to. But I feel like Nintendo of anybody can do the Telltale thing better than anybody.
We're not going there.
I want it.
That's not happening. It ain't going to be Zelda. We're not taking Zelda to Telltale World. That's not happening. I don't want Telltale to do it. I want Nintendo to up the bar in that, because we are just eating all, and this is going to get hate, we're just eating up all the crap
that Telltale is spitting out. That Minecraft story mode that you seem to like so much.
I didn't say I liked it. I
actually didn't know if you liked it.
I just started playing.
I'd be curious to hear, what do you think of it?
So far, I don't mind it.
I'll tell you, it's crap.
I'm very early in.
Reviews on WeTheNerdy.com.
Look at
it's all crap. They didn't even know what they're doing. They're making it up one story at a time.
Patrick just stole my line.
Telltale Zelda sounds like hot trash in the summer. Of course it does, because Telltale. Yeah. Guys, that's not what I'm saying. I want Nintendo to show us
to take that genre
what that really means. And that's really the true nature of what Breath of the Wild is. It makes every other developer go, oh my God, we have been doing it wrong for so many years. This is how you do open world. All the things we thought we cared about, all the things that we thought people wanted. Nope. Same thing with this. I want to, and the reason I think that this would be neat too, they could do it almost like set in the various worlds, the various different Zelda games. You could have like a Skyward Sword, just adventure mode or story mode or something like that. I want to explore Link and Zelda a little bit more. I want to have more of them together. Like kind of like the cartoon. Not quite like the cartoon. But I want them together, Bobby. I want to see that played out. And I don't know if we get that in a traditional, whether it's a top-down or an open world. Link and Zelda will never be together in that way. And I think I think maybe I'm totally off. I feel like people are going to catch up in the chat and go like, they want Link and Zelda. They want a little like, will they, won't they?
I want, me personally, I don't want where you're going.
Shocking.
No, but I don't think that, do I?
Oh yeah, Link and Zelda dating sim. That's the one. Oh, yep, that's better. Thank you.
Please stop.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, good God. For me, if they did like a Telltale thing, as like basically like when they do Four Swords and stuff like that, okay, I'm fine with that. But I feel like that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like
let's see what you got.
A traditional Zelda game. What I feel like is they need to spin this thing on its back and just totally twist it up. And by that I mean they need to take this thing to the future a little bit. I would like to see. Well, maybe, who knows? But I think that they need to take it where maybe it's more lightsaber-esque with the swords, like laser swords and things like that. Like, show us something that we haven't seen with the. And I know people are traditional to the fantasy stuff, but like you would still have Link, you would still have Zelda, you would have all that stuff, but move it to a different timeline. Move it to the future, and by the future I mean way off into the future. Like
this was one of the concepts that they were talking about aliens invading.
Yes, that was one of the concepts, and I kind of thought like I'd like to see how that plays out. I would be a fan of that. Like I would like to see how that works, and I just feel like that's kind of where I would take it. I mean, I don't know if.
John, you're right. Yes. Okay. So let's go back to my version because I think Space Alien Zelda is stupid, but I think that this is way better. You're right. That the link choices in an adventure game for dialogue would be A for hiya, B for yeah, X for yeah, and Y he plays the ocarina.
Oh my God.
Dude, I would be spamming Y the whole time. I'd have a 50-hour playthrough of
I'd probably do the same thing.
Remember when I sang Star Trek to you last week, Bobby?
Yeah, I remember. So the difference is, well, let's do this. Okay.
So are you just talking like timeline? What kind of game are you talking about when we're in the future with lightsabers and the Force?
Like that's probably You know what? That's probably a bad idea. I'm not feeling that now. I'm thinking here. This was.
What about multiplayer? Earlier. People talk about like a multiplayer type of experience.
You know, that would have been honestly, that would have been cool if you could have imported some friends to go hunt stuff and do different things in Zelda. Maybe go hunt guardians or things like that. Like that would have been a lot of fun to do. Turn it kind of into an MMO type style thing. I think honestly, what Nintendo needs to do, what they will probably do. I think what they will probably do is go top down, because the Breath of the Wild whole thing takes so long to build. It's going to take a long time, and I think Nintendo really needs to take their time and make the next Zelda game mean something. In an open world style game, I think they have to go back open world when they come back to the 3D realm. They can never go back to the lineal path where they're just leading you down this thing and this stupid sword jumps off your back and blocks you from going left when that's where you really want to go. But I think when you do the next top-down Zelda, it needs to stay with the roots of like, hey, here you go. We're not going to play this game no more where you have to go into this dungeon. And like, there should be dungeons. There definitely should be dungeons. I feel like that was probably the one thing that was lacking in this. Toby makes a valid point. That's the one thing that bothers him with this game. There's no dungeons. But like, I feel like you do a top-down where it's almost like the original Zelda. You walk into the cave, you get the wooden sword, and you just go out and start adventuring. And that's what it is. And nothing holds you back from where you're going. From the future, any Zelda needs to be like that. Hand-holding stuff needs to go. Can't be there no more. So, that said, I feel like the next...
What about alternate endings? I want alternate... That's kind of where I'm going
that
with
the whole,
That would
be
kind
of cool. I mean,
story.
they kind of did alternate endings with this one, but it's so minute, it's not even a major issue.
Yeah, but like actually having like BioWare type of decisions, like I got to do this or people are gonna die. What's happening here? What's up, Rybo?
Exactly. Just said maybe Link can show up in your
Star Fox masterpiece.
Listen, that Star Fox was an awesome idea, man. So I think that like
I want alternate endings. I want like a morality scale. I want like are we doing like hero Link or is he going to turn into like a dark Link?
That would be
maybe have
cool.
like a little touch of Fable in there maybe.
That would be kind of cool. Like which way do you go? Do you side with Ganon? Do you side with that? Now we're getting somewhere.
What? Yeah, man. Like, what if there was like some sort of like allure to Ganon? What if he had some way of kind of like, yeah, man. Like, look. I show you the path. You want to get with Zelda. This is the way. You just got to do this, and this. And of course, that never works out. And then the Emperor throws him into a pit while he electrocutes you.
Dude, seriously, man. That would be really.
No,
really
David
awesome.
doesn't like this.
I like the fact. I would like the idea of picking your path and saying like, do you want to go good or do you want to go evil? You know what I mean? Like.
That's kind of like what you get in Zelda a lot too, right? Where you have like the light or the dark or like the shadow world or things like that where things kind of flip around. It could actually like transport you depending on what you end up doing. You could end up in the other part of the world and you'd play a totally different game. That would be cool,
my
dude.
Thing is this is whatever they do on the next one, they have to drive more story home. This one was like set up and leading to be very story driven and then they kind of fell apart a little bit, you know what I mean? And the ending wasn't that powerful. Not as powerful as I felt it could have been.
It sounds like 100 years ago things were way more interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to experience that too.
That would be.
Like,
man,
I mean, prequels are very tough because you know ultimately what happens, but you don't really know. Like you don't know.
There's still gaps.
How the champions went down. Like I think that would be really.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I kind of wonder is like that what happens here when you play the DLC. Like, is that what the Champions Ballad is? Like, it's you're going out, you're doing what you got to do, but they're falling off one by one by one.
That's interesting.
But I feel like this the story needs to be very, like, Nintendo only has a couple games that have stories, in theory. Like, Mario needs to go away for a while. Like, the nonsense of, like, the princess keeps getting captured, it's the same thing after. Zelda has the basis, like, especially with Skyward Sword, they started to build.
Well, it's got the universe. Yeah.
They started to build a background to Zelda. And the nice thing about Zelda is every Link is not necessarily the same Link. There's only
that's what I was thinking about the multiplayer thing. Yeah. Is that you're all playing different Links. That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool. But with the choosing your own destiny, too, it gives you the opportunity to go, like, you know what, man, I want to see what happens. Because, number one, you're going to do 2 playthroughs. You're going to do one where you're going to try to do all the good stuff. It's kind of like Infamous. You know what I mean? Like where Infamous, you pick your paths and you kind of lead where you're going. I like that idea, man. I really do. I think it would be a lot of fun.
I think we're waiting for somebody to figure out how to do that really quite nuanced. Like for everything we've seen so far is like it's very clear that you do this thing and that's the evil choice. You do the other thing and that's a good choice. And you kind of have that thermometer that kind of goes back and forth. And I think Nintendo could be the ones to find out how to do that very, very nuanced and very just like not quite so cut and dry. And that it's almost like a butterfly effect. And it's a very fine line to walk because you want to be able to predict in a way what you're going to do, or at least have some sort of like rationale that like this is how I ended up on the good side or the bad side. But butterfly effect is almost borderline random. Like if you play like Until Dawn, totally based on the butterfly effect, but you can't actually go back and see like if you do this and this and this, all those combinations will lead you to whatever, these people dying and things like that. So I don't know, man. I just think Nintendo, like the developers there is just such geniuses, and they could take these concepts that were like 95% of the way there, and for the most part we've accepted as the standard, and they can just go, nope, you weren't even close. Here it is.
I think Breath of the Wild is a very strong step in the right direction for Nintendo. Now they need to go, okay, this is the direction we're going, and now we're going to ramp it up with what we know, what we do. We're going to put dungeons in. I would have been fine if we had all the shrines, and then when you got to the 4 beasts, they were actually full-on realistic dungeons with a good end boss or something. Like, that would have been better for me. Like, I felt, and then I want to. Patrick said something like the lack of story worked well with Breath of the Wild, though it was more atmospheric. I feel like, in my mind, I loved the storylines when they were fed to you a little bit, like you found them, because it was kind of like you were uncovering memory parts. I love that. I wanted more. And what I mean by that is when I finally got to the end and did what I did, I wanted more drawn out, longer storyline to what happened, what all went down. Like, I wanted her to be like, fill in the gaps a little bit for him and be like, let's go behind this tree.
Well, Nintendo is very good at hiding their weaknesses. So they spent all these years building this world, trying to figure out how to develop for the Wii U in HD, and then for the Switch, the NX, of course. And by doing that, they create this thing. The gameplay is number one. And by doing that, they've hidden the fact that they weren't quite able. I think it truly was choosing one over the other. And I'm glad they made the choice that they did. They couldn't quite figure out how to merge all of that dense story into this. It's very similar to, shout out to Adam Leonard. We're going to talk about Destiny for a real quick second. Destiny, Bungie didn't know how to do both. They couldn't do the story and that massively multiplayer experience. So they just did technical. They nailed the gameplay, but story was pretty crappy. Destiny 2, they figured it out, man. So for that reason, I'm coming back to your first thing, which is let's stick in this Breath of the Wild mode. Let's stick in the open world thing. Let's pump up the things that weren't really quite there. Make the world a little bit more dense and some more story. That might be all you need. Like, that's kind of the thing. We're talking about once in a generation game here. Yeah. Maybe don't walk away like I said at the start.
It's true, and I'm starting to think twice about it too. When you and the shirts. What I'm starting to think too.
I've been eating a lot of pizza lately, so I'm just gonna hide my face, Bobby.
Good Lord. Anyway, what I'm starting to think too is like maybe the answer is to follow up Breath of the Wild with a big open world again, and to go in and just really dive in deep and make it. You know what I mean? Like,
but do you need a palate cleanser? Do you need a Zelda palate cleanser? Or do you think Mario is the palate cleanser?
I think Mario, and not only that, time.
Did you just say Mario? Yeah, you did. You said Mario. Yeah, it's coming. Mario.
No, I think that like the time is more or less the palate cleanser. You know what I mean? Like, you look at a lot of people didn't like Horizon because they came right off of Zelda. And it was like, I need to take a moment before I dive into a big open world again. So I get that, you know what I mean? Like, I really enjoy that and stuff. And I think that that's basically the direction they need to take it. Even if they were to say, like, look, we're going to give the top-down Zelda to another studio to do while we work on our big game. This way, you give people a Zelda game, like Capcom did a great job with Zelda. You know what I mean? Like, you could give it to a third-party company and just go, hey, just make us a top-down Zelda. You can't really flub that up. You do that while we work on the grand, big game. But I feel like from Nintendo, they need to work on this big, massive open world and fix, and I don't want to say fix like they were broken, because what they did with the open world genre was unbelievable. I mean, dude, they did, I've said this before, you know this, but like they did a huge, massive open world without huge glitches. Like, and the one glitch was the slowdown. They fixed it after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like they kind of I feel like they mastered it their first time out. You know, it's like, you know.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you what do you think about this? Because I think of Super Nintendo being the golden age of JRPGs, Chrono Trigger,
Absolutely,
Secret of Mana,
absolutely.
But I always like, because I could only experience Nintendo at neighbor Matt's house, I always kind of like conflated Zelda with those games. I always thought like maybe I was missing something when I did get a chance to play Link to the Past. Like, when do we go into the Chrono Trigger type of combat? And of course, that wasn't there. What if they did that? Like, what if the next 2D Zelda game isn't like your traditional like wander around open world thing? Like, what if Nintendo shows us how to do the JRPG properly? I could be up for that, man.
I don't know that Nintendo knows how to do JRPG, to be honest with you. Like, they did it with Earthbound, but like, look at Paper Mario and stuff.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you look at Mario's going to do everything. Mario has done every type of genre.
Yeah,
like,
nobody else can do anything else. It's like they're you know.
Well, he quit plumbing, so now he's doing everything else.
Apparently, maybe, so, yeah.
I would like to see Link and the Zelda franchise kind of branch out. I think it would be kind of weird or wild, actually, Rybo. It would be wild. You're right. It would be a breath of the wild.
Yes.
You're right. The general public would hate it. These are why we don't end up running Nintendo.
Well,
but I think this would be kind of neat. Like, I just kind of think of like the coat of paint that you put over Chrono Trigger, and that's kind of where I started to think about the multiple endings and things like that. A lot of the things that we love about Chrono Trigger and the replayability, you put a Zelda world in there. I think that would be super cool.
You know what? Paper Zelda, I would love.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
You don't even like what they've done with Paper Mario.
Well, the original series were good. It just got bad over time.
That's the thing. You'll get that. You'll get the new. They won't remember how they used to make it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Chelsea loves puns, Rybo. That's why I've been practicing my puns.
She must love Mark Carabin.
She loves them. Oh, she probably would. We were driving home the other day. Did I tell you this, Bob? We were driving home, and a lady was walking her dog, and the dog was clearly out of control, just like wandering all over the place. And I said, "Oh man, she's having a rough walk." And she goes, "Rough walk," like a dog rough. And she could barely even drive, man. She was laughing for 30 seconds. She loves puns. Rough walk.
Oh Lord! Shout out to Chelsea. I love Chelsea.
Shout out to Chelsea.
So we got 2 topics left, man, and we got like 15 minutes. So I don't know. I guess let's wrap this up. I don't think either of us know really what we would do with Zelda, because we're kind of all over the board with it. And I think,
and for that reason, let us just say that we speak for all Nintendo fans, that none of us ever know what we want ever, and we should just be happy with whatever Nintendo gives us.
This is true. This is true.
But the fact that we don't know what we want next is something, and it's never been quite as profound as this. I don't think
that's the problem. Like, leading into this, I thought, okay, the next one's got to be a top-down Zelda. No questions asked. And then, but I look at what they did with this game, and I just, look, for me, I love Breath of the Wild. There is no bones about it. Even with the flaws that I just announced or I talked about, like, I love this game. I'm afraid to, like, turn it on, because I know what happens when I turn this game on. I lose hours of my life. Like, it just disappeared, man. Like, I went back in for the DLC, and I went in to go do one thing, and guess what? I wound up tackling 120 shrines and taking them out. And it's like, it's totally whacked for me. Like, I can't just turn this game on and play for 5 minutes and shut it down. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's a good game.
I don't know. And I think what I really love about it is just being a Zelda fan and getting into that world and seeing things that, like, dude, when you walk through Hyrule Castle and it's demolished and you're finding little Easter eggs all throughout it, dude, it's so awesome.
I'll bet. I can't wait.
Yeah, well, eventually in 2019 you'll figure that out. But
I mean, that's kind of the plan, Bobby.
Oh, Lord.
Look, the reason that it's so great, though, is because it proved the Switch. Like, the game itself is really, really good. Absolutely. We would have loved it if we just played it on the Wii U, but it was the fact that you took that it was the same. Like, I don't think that that's really been a marriage that's been that perfect for a launch game, proving the console since Mario 64. I'm sure that's not a new opinion. So, but I just want to throw that out there.
So we got two. Now we're down to 12 minutes, but whatever. We got two. I think we should go with the pros and the JoyCons, honestly.
Oh yeah, let's do that, man.
A little bit too far, but what are the pros and the JoyCons of owning multiple gaming consoles?
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically like, I kind of want to talk about this because I feel like there's people that only own a Nintendo console, or there's people that only own other consoles and don't get to experience what's on the other consoles. So I wanted to have this conversation with you, and I feel like, you know, okay, so the pros of it is you kind of get to experience everything.
Mm-hmm.
The exclusives,
they don't matter.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. They don't matter anymore. Holy crap!
They don't matter. You're right.
So it basically takes that off the playing field where people are worried about that stuff, and you don't have to. You can just play everything. You know what I mean? Like, so that's number one. That's the biggest, I think, pro of it all. Another pro is
you'll always have something to play.
Yes.
You'll always, no matter what, especially with the Wii U is probably the most pronounced, is when you'd have those dry spells, and if that's all you had, man, that was a pretty rough go.
That was. And I had, I talked about before where I had the 3DS and the Wii U, and I would bounce back and forth between the two. And as far as Nintendo went, I didn't really dry up that much, but I also had the PS4 that I would jump over to and play a little bit.
Exactly.
Until the big stuff came and then went back to it. There's a con, Joey. It's called no money in your pocket.
Yeah, man, no money.
Yeah, like it's a little pricey to do that, man. It's not cheap.
You got all those subscriptions that you got now. Like, we're going to be paying yet another one for Nintendo pretty soon. Yeah, man, I actually think that it's funny because it seems like the one con of being, or the one pro of being able to play everything because you have access to it is pretty big. But it also feels like that's kind of the only pro. Like, I'm hard pressed to think of, like, maybe this is coming from a place, Bobby, where we are now being overwhelmed with games on every one. Like, now we're like PlayStation 4, Xbox One, they're very mature consoles at this point, and the Switch is keeping up to both of them like it has been around for years. It's hard to remember that it just launched back in February it launched. I'm sorry, it was like March 3rd. March 3rd. I was mixed up with Horizon.
I think the thing, though, that impresses me with owning 3 then also is then you get to kind of pick which is your preferred place of play. Like, when you do get a game, you
actually get to say it instead of just like
say, like, I want to play this here for this particular game. Okay, I want to play this game over here, and you get to go where. Here's an example. Let's say that I want to play GTA 5. I could go, well, you know what? More of my friends play GTA 5 on the PS4, so I want to go there. But then I go, hey, you know what? I want to play. I can't think of any third parties that are on Xbox. So I want to play Minecraft. So I go.
Good one.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but there's other stuff.
It is a good one. I'm serious.
Yep. You know, like, or Titanfall is an example. Like, I want to go play Titanfall. Where do I play it at? You know, do I play it on PS4? Do I play it on Xbox? And I can pick and choose where I want to go.
So the pro is choice.
The pro is choice. That's another.
The pro is choice. What was I just saying? Oh, the other thing really is that no console is perfect.
Yes.
Every single one of them has critical issues, and that if that's all you had, you're going to be stuck with those critical issues, and you can't jump somewhere else. So sometimes, like, multiplayer is better in somewhere else. You can go play your multiplayer games. You can play your, like, it's kind of just like it's diversifying your gaming portfolio, Bobby. You don't want to put all of your eggs in the same basket.
I think I'm a little jealous of guys like Lee Navarro, who truly is that mindset of, I just want to play great games. I don't ever want to fight with people about where the best games are played at. I just want to play great games. And here's a guy that he'll play his Nintendo to go play this game. And then he'll go play, he'll play the Nintendo exclusives where they are, then third parties. Like, because he has a PC and it's ramped up, nobody can ever say to him, like, well, Xbox is better than PS4, because he just goes, yeah, well, come check this out over here.
I know, dude. That guy's PC's got more horsepower than my Corolla.
It's crazy, dude.
It's
crazy.
insane, man.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, all the cons are very cost centric. It costs way too much. You got controllers all over the place. You got batteries everywhere. You got cables everywhere. Subscriptions. So many things to worry about. You got a backlog that's triple what it would be if you only had one.
Yeah, I feel like
pretty much do it
now, and this is what's weird. Like I have a PS4 that I have not touched since the Switch came out at all. I've had zero desire to go to it. You know what I mean? Like that's not true because you and I played a little bit of the Division.
Like one weekend, thanks.
Yeah, whatever.
It's all right.
You're welcome. And but like I've just been so entrenched in Nintendo for the past 6 months that I can't or whatever it is. I can't see outside the tunnel that's going on. I got tunnel vision right now. And but I'm also excited to dive into like Xbox and try that out. But then I look at like, here's the example. Like I look at NBA 2K. I don't know. Like I actually did a comparison across the board. Not too shabby on the Switch.
I'm telling you, man. It's so funny.
It's pretty close, man.
Those comparisons, I think, always have had trouble really showing differences.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just because they're YouTube and it compresses already. And I don't know how exactly you show within the same video. One is running at 30 frames per second and one is running at 60.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, like, because doesn't the video render it? I don't know. That's kind of weird. But this is in Nintendo's favor, where those have never really been able to show a difference, and now it's in their favor, where before people would know, like people throw a lot of their biases in before they start watching one of those. When the PlayStation and Xbox were going head to head, everybody knew PS4 was more powerful, and so they would go, oh, that one is clearly better, even though there was marginal differences. Well, and now people think, well, it's a handheld. It's like that would be great for it to look even come closer.
And that's what I was going to say. That's where Nintendo wins in my mind.
Yeah, man.
Because when you're looking at a game like 2K18, and is it the Xbox One? Is it the PS4 Pro? Which, by the way, why are they comparing the PS4 Pro to the Xbox One S and the Switch? That makes no sense to me. Like,
we've talked about this many times, Bobby.
You
We're
know
bad at
that's the
comparing
most powerful one. Of course, it's going to look the best. So whatever. But when I look at the 3, and I go, wow, this console that's a quarter of the size of these two, it's not that far off. Mm-hmm. All the gimmicks of playing the game are built into it as well, and I can take it on the go. That's a huge win, man. I feel like Nintendo wins that battle over and over again, because if someone's sitting there and they own 3 consoles and they go, well, where do I want to play? Well, you know what? I go to work every day on my lunch break. I can play this. I think people are going to want to go to the Switch.
Yeah, man. Do you want to play Doom while you boom boom? You know, Doom while you poop. You know,
you call poop and boom boom.
Boom boom. I mean, I think somebody does. I'm sure.
Oh,
Newest Patreon, Jesse Sakin. Huge con. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Controller layout when switching games, man. Yeah, totally. Like, where the hell is Y? I don't know, man.
Yeah. It does mess up.
And it's not even like he mentioned switching games like Uncharted versus Breath of the Wild. What actually trips me up is entering in text, where I'm trying to like backspace or I'm trying to go forward or space. It's different on both.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that really a huge con is when you can change your name on every other console but one.
What a joke, man. I'm telling you. Like, that's what I mean. Everything has its critical flaws. And yeah, I mean, honestly, that's it.
So that is all. Thank you guys for listening.
You're welcome, Rybo.
On iTunes. Dayspace. I almost said SoundCloud. Why do I always still do
I was saying SoundCloud in my head.
Oh my god! Get out of my brain. It was so long, man. I had 100 episodes saying that, and then I had like 50 something episodes here saying that.
Yeah, right. I understand.
Anyway, Dayspace.com, Google Play. Check us out on YouTube, which you guys in the chat are doing right now, but everybody else can do it as well. Thank you guys for the support. We really, truly appreciate it. Check us out over on Patreon, patreon.com/make us better. Check out Toby's new YouTube series, man. It is really good, dude. He did an episode today, went live. It's on my YouTube channel. Go check that out. Check out, dude, this is what you guys are creating. Seriously, you're creating just amazing content. Like, Toby did amazing things. I literally have not been able to listen to podcasts since I started a new job. Yesterday, I sat there and watched We the Gamercast while playing my Switch.
Look at that.
It was pretty awesome. And I wouldn't have been able to do that before. But now, thanks to you guys, we're able to put stuff on YouTube. And it's just awesome. So, thank you. Thank you very much. So, follow the show at If We Ran Nintendo on Twitter. Follow Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Follow me at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.
Bye, Preston.
I'm beginning to feel like a rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god.
Whoop, hit the wrong one. What the hell? Look at Jesus. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Bobby here, Nintendo Guru. Welcome to... Man, what is... Oh. I forgot how to start
We'll do it live.
I forgot how to
we'll
start
do it
the
live.
show. I forgot how to start the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to If We Ran Nintendo episode 78.
Stop. What is up, everybody? Welcome to If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, and this is episode... Oh, my God. This is a train wreck. All right, last time. I'm going to do this again. This is horrible. Horrible. This is going to end up in the after show or the back end of it. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 78 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all of podcasting, Sean Capri. What is up, Sean?
Hi, Bobby. It's nice to see you. I'm reminded of when we first started doing this show, and I was so honored and humbled.